mocked Usman for his lack of knockouts and asked up against Tyron Woodley, who was fresh off a second-round submission win over Darren Till.
They come down to grappling, there's nothing you can do.
Part of the game, but so is being confident in your skills. There's nothing wrong in believing you're the best in the world or that you're going to beat your next opponent. After all, if you didn't feel that way, why bother stepping inside the cage in the first place?
I was always one of those guys, yeah.
I can believe
I'm sure
100%.
No, you know, confidence grows through work ethic. And that's it, I put the work in and it's paying off, and I truly believe that my work is the correct work.
But while there's confidence, there's also looking down on your opponent. We've all seen those trash talk on wrong videos. This is a very common theme in MMA, and while it looks great if you back up your words, you'll end up looking silly if you get crushed.
Picture perfect moment coming up, courtesy of Usman's face. Can't wait. I'm gonna break those bones on your face like a fucking chicken anyways. Can't wait to dismantle you.
The Nigerian kingpin of the 170-pound division has steamrolled to look at some regrettable moments for the more recent opponents of Kamaru Usman, shedding the lights on their arrogant or humble opinion before and after they felt the touch of the Nigerian's right hand. Tyron Woodley. There is no better place to start than when Kamaru Usman first became welterweight champion. He was up against Tyron Woodley, who was fresh off a second-round submission win over Darren Till. Despite a lackluster start as a champion, Woodley was slowly gaining respect during this time, and not many people expected him to lose anytime soon.
170s, get ready, I'm a problem.
That was the case even with Usman, who was undefeated in the UFC. While Usman was bigger than Woodley, he was also a wrestler. He didn't have the dynamite that Woodley possessed in his right hand. Woodley even brought this up at the pre-fight press conference and saw zero chance of him losing to Usman. He mocked Usman for his lack of knockouts and asked him what he could do better than him. If it was a straight striking match, he'd knock him out. If it was grappling, he'd break his arm. If it was wrestling, he'd out-wrestle him.
Oh, what you gonna do better than me?
Everything.
You gonna out-wrestle me?
Everything.
If we get in the octagon and I can throw no punches, no knees, no takedowns, no submission, I would kick your ass and just wrestle, flat out. When it come down to striking, I would knock you out, flat out. When it come down to grappling, I would break your arm, flat out. There's nothing you can do.
Bring that energy. You know what I'm gonna tell you? I'm gonna tell you right now. This is how it's gonna go down.
I'm about to say
after
anything.
I take that belt from you, you know what I'm gonna tell you. After I take that belt from you, you know what I'm telling you in your ear.
Show me, say what you gonna show me?
Just like this. You've been a good champion.
Oh my God.
You've been a good champion.
Hey, here come out Uncle Jay. You talking back to your mentor right now.
If you agreed with Woodley, you would have been wrong, just like he was. Usman dominated him over 5 rounds. He took him down with ease and kept him down. He bullied and overpowered him in the clinch. By the end of it, everyone knew we had a new champion as Usman won a lopsided decision. All Woodley could do at the end was praise the now newly crowned welterweight champion and describing his loss like a bad dream.
Like a badass dream. You want to punch hard, but you don't punch. You want to move forward, but you're stepping back. So I had too many moments in there, and Kamaru, he came out there and he won. So
unfortunately for Woodley, the bad dream wouldn't completely end here. Colby Covington.
Colby! Chaos!
American Steel, twist the sex appeal, baby. Let's go!
At UFC 245 in December 2019, Usman was set for his first title defense in a highly anticipated grudge match with Colby Covington. This fight was years in the making.
You suck, dude, man! You suck! You're crying!
Whoa! Total chaos here. It looks like UFC security.
As we've been accustomed to, Covington ramped up the trash talk.
That's right, you're a loser. No one gives a about you. Everybody came to see me, so shut your mouth and listen to the chant.
Because after I break that bitch on Saturday night, he's going to need to sleep on his couch.
I'm going to bounce it off the canvas, and I'm going to kick it into the 3rd row.
He went personal, mocked Usman's heritage.
Sweet bed sheets. Dude, what happened to your hair, man?
Didn't stick around for the post-fight interview as he ran from the octagon backstage.
Kamaru! Nigerian Nightmare! This one is not just for me, this one is for the whole entire world right now.
Months later, the controversial figure would make his appearance on the Ariel Helwani MMA show, claiming that he had stepped on a banana peel and that the fight should have never been stopped.
beating his ass again. I won the whole entire fight. The fight's mine. They're about to wrap the welterweight championship around my waist. And then all of a sudden I slip on a banana.
Right on 6 days' notice.
I'm cutting weight, bro. I feel like shit, man, but okay.
And created one of the biggest anticipation for a fight we had seen since the McGregor days. Masvidal was riding high at this point. He was now a bona fide superstar following knockout wins over Darren Till, Ben Askren.
The fight clock is brought to you by Motel.
Recent times, baptize Usman, separate him from his consciousness, and get the fast knockout.
Because he's no joke now. Talk to us about what we should expect to see.
A baptism. I'm gonna baptize this man.
All right.
I gotta look and do it as violent as possible, and I gotta leave you completely.
Of course, that didn't happen, and it was a pretty unmemorable fight with Usman taking Masvidal down and clinching him for 5 rounds. Remember the foot stomps being the highlight of the fight? At the end of it, Masvidal was quick to pull the 6 days notice card, and that with a few more weeks to prepare, he had what it takes to be the undisputed champion.
I'm just not convinced that I can't beat him with a full training camp, so I would love nothing more than instead of 6 days, 6 weeks. It'll happen if I gotta win another fight or so, whatever I gotta do to get back on the high horse and compete against this man again.
At UFC 258, Usman finally fought Gilbert Burns. They knew each other very well. After all, they were good friends at one point. They were also former training partners, and while there was respect between them, there was also a certain amount of tension. But what made things really interesting was the fact that they had trained and sparred together. Surely, they both knew who got the better of each other, who was more dominant in wrestling, who got submitted the most, who got the better in the striking department. Burns was certainly confident. He stated that the champion knew that he could submit him from anywhere, and that deep down, Usman also knew who was going to win.
I know I can submit him anywhere, anytime, in the bottom, on the top, in the cage, anywhere. He knows I can submit him. He might, like he said, oh, people know who's gonna win. He said, yeah, they know. Yeah, he knows. He knows you.
Come fight night, Burns had a great start as he staggered Usman with a right hand in what was the first time we really saw Usman seriously hurt. However, Burns didn't follow up on it as he ended up pulling guard and allowing Usman to recover. What followed was a jabbing masterclass from Usman, who battered and dropped Burns before eventually finishing him off via TKO.
And that will do it! And still the best welterweight in the world!
Burns could only erupt into tears inside the octagon while Usman looked on as his friend was dejected. They would eventually embrace each other and resume their friendship, but on this night, it was clear who the better mixed martial artist was.
Wasn't exactly where I want to be. I think I get overexcited. It was almost done, but I cannot make those mistakes to become a champion.
Jorge Masvidal too. Usman would then run things back with Masvidal a couple of months later at UFC 261. The narrative was set. Masvidal would train with a full camp this time and finally deliver the baptism he promised. He was also fighting in front of his home fans in Miami to gain an added advantage. Leading up to the fight, Gamebred promised to expose Usman for the coward that he was. This time, he also mocked Usman's lack of power.
I mean, I got into 25 minutes with him, and I never wobbled, and he never hit my chin, and I said, oh snap, I don't want to get hit again. I'm going to expose the coward that he is, you know, and I say that with all honesty because he's nothing but a coward.
Masvidal would also mock Usman's power during the rematch, as well as he would smile after absorbing the shot.
Sir, always a pleasure.
So now I've got to ask you, we have Kamaru Usman working here tonight. He is on the desk. What would you like to say to him?
Marty Fake Newsman, you got so lucky last time. You know what happened? See you next time. Wait till I see you next time, Marty Fake Newsman. You're dead. You're dead.
Colby Covington 2. The final fight we're looking at is Usman's most recent one, which was a rematch with Colby Covington at UFC 268 in November. Covington, as usual, parodied the same excuses of how his jaw never broke. The referee was biased against him, and that he suffered from an early stoppage, but this time, he was out for revenge.
He knows who Daddy is. He knows who really won that fight. If he didn't fake timeouts the first fight, I would have destroyed him. But Saturday night's the future, and I'm destroying Marty Fake Newsman.
Nearly 2 years in the making, the heated rivals would finally collide again. And if it was anything like the first encounter, we were all in for a competitive treat. It wasn't enough in the end, as Usman still won a straightforward unanimous decision. Covington, whose face was somewhat battered, could only put a humble front as he embraced Usman at the end of the fight before stating that Usman had the better night in his post-fight interview.
Yeah, I had my moments, you know, I wobbled him a couple of times.